If you love God, subscribe in this channel and comment "I love God." Have you ever stopped to ask yourself the question, why are we here? What is the purpose of our existence in such an immense, seemingly infinite universe? For centuries, this question has echoed in the hearts of people, compelling us to search for meaning beyond our everyday experiences. Today, we embark on a journey to explore that very question. The answer lies not in the physical world around us, but in the very beginning, in the act of creation itself. Why did God create us? From the very first moments, when He formed the heavens and the earth, humanity was set apart, designed in His image, distinct from all other creatures. But what does it truly mean to be made in God's image? And how does that influence our lives today? In Genesis, we discover that humanity was created on the sixth day, not by mere chance, but with purpose and intention. God, in His infinite wisdom and love, chose to create beings who could reflect His nature. These beings, us, are not like the rest of creation. God made us with the capacity to think, to reason, to choose, and most importantly, to love. Unlike animals that follow instinct, we have the ability to reflect on our existence, ask deep questions, and seek answers beyond what we can physically see. We were made to reflect the beauty, creativity, and complexity of our Creator. This unique ability to engage with the world and with God Himself gives us a special purpose, one that transcends mere survival or success. The story of our creation doesn't end with just being made in God's image. It begins there, setting the stage for a relationship that was meant to flourish. God didn't create humanity to merely exist but to actively participate in His divine plan. He wanted us to reflect His goodness and love, not just in our thoughts, but through our actions, our relationships, and our choices. From the beginning, God sought to walk alongside us, to share His heart, and to invite us into His eternal love. In Genesis 2, we see God form Adam from the dust and breathe life into him. But He didn't stop there. He saw that Adam was alone, and so He created a companion, a partner, to walk beside him. This partnership was not just for companionship but for a deeper, mutual relationship with God. Together, Adam and Eve were meant to reflect God's love and image, living in harmony with each other and with the Creator. However, the story of creation took a dramatic turn. Despite the perfection of God's design, humanity's free will led to a break in that relationship. The fall of man, Adam and Eve's disobedience, entered the world and disrupted the beautiful harmony that God had intended. Sin corrupted the divine image within us, distorting the very essence of what it meant to bear God's likeness. But even in the midst of our fall, God did not abandon His creation. His love remained unwavering. Throughout the Bible, we see individuals, like King David, who despite their flaws and mistakes, sought to return to that relationship with God, showing us that even though the image of God in us is marred, it's not lost. Our purpose still remains intact, to know God, to glorify Him, and to restore that intimacy. The story doesn't end with the fall, however. Even though sin entered the world and marred the perfect relationship between humanity and God, a promise was made, a path to redemption. From the very moment of the fall, God promised that one day, a Savior would come to restore the brokenness and heal the division between humanity and the Creator. In Genesis 3 verse 15, God speaks of a future where the offspring of a woman will crush the head of the serpent, a reference to Jesus Christ, who would ultimately defeat sin and death. This divine promise began the grand narrative of redemption, where God, through His immense love and grace, would offer humanity a way back to the original purpose of creation. Even though humanity had fallen short, God's plan for restoration was already in motion. As we continue to explore why God created us, we realize that our purpose extends beyond our relationship with Him alone. We were also created to reflect His nature in our relationships with others. In Genesis 2 verse 18, God recognizes that it's not good for man to be alone and creates woman as a helper, a companion. This union between man and woman was designed not just for companionship, but as a reflection of the unity within the Godhead. Through the marriage relationship, humanity was meant to reflect the love and unity of God Himself. This mutual partnership, rooted in love and care, serves as a powerful image of how God desires us to live, connected to each other and to Him. Marriage, family, and friendships are not just part of our existence. They are a means of glorifying God and reflecting His image through communal relationships. As we continue to reflect on the creation story, it's essential to understand that our purpose is not just to exist, but to actively engage in God's divine plan. Our role as stewards of the earth is another vital aspect of why God created us. When God gave Adam and Eve dominion over the earth, it wasn't a call to exploit or dominate creation, but rather to care for it and protect it. In Genesis 1 verse 28, God commands them to be fruitful, multiply, and fill the earth. This dominion was about partnership with God, reflecting His care and love for all creation. It's a reminder that we were created to manage and protect what God entrusted to us, whether it's the environment, our relationships, or the resources we have. This responsibility, though, comes with the understanding that everything belongs to God, and we are simply caretakers of His creation. But, of course, the story of humanity didn't remain in the perfection of the garden. As we know, sin entered the world and distorted our purpose. The relationship between humanity and God was severed, and the harmony of creation was broken. What was meant to be a beautiful partnership with God became corrupted. Instead of caring for the earth, humanity began to exploit it. The fall didn't just affect Adam and Eve, it affected all of creation. Yet, even in the midst of this tragedy, God's love remained. The promise of a Redeemer was still in place. Through Jesus, we find the way back to the original purpose, restoring our relationship with God, reflecting His image, and living as faithful stewards of His creation. As we look at the grand story of redemption, we see that God's love for humanity never wavered, even when everything seemed broken. The arrival of Jesus Christ is the fulfillment of God's promise to restore what was lost. Through His life, death, and resurrection, Jesus became the ultimate expression of God's love for us, offering a way to heal the broken relationship between God and humanity. This was not just a rescue from sin, but an invitation to return to the original purpose we were created for, to reflect God's image and glorify Him. Jesus, as the perfect image of God, showed us how to live with love, humility, and integrity. His sacrificial death on the cross paved the way for us to be reconciled with God, allowing us to once again walk in the intimate relationship that was always intended. But redemption doesn't end with Jesus' sacrifice. It continues in us. As followers of Christ, we are called not only to live in relationship with God, but to reflect His love and glory to the world around us. This means living in a way that mirrors Christ's example, serving others, loving unconditionally, and caring for the world God created. It means using our gifts and talents to bring glory to God in everything we do, from our work and relationships to how we treat others and care for creation. Our lives are not meant to be lived for ourselves, but to reflect God's goodness, wisdom, and love in every moment. And as we walk in this purpose, we participate in God's redemptive work on earth, showing others the path back to the Creator. Now that we understand the importance of reflecting God's image and fulfilling His purpose, we must ask ourselves, what does this look like in our daily lives? Living out our purpose requires more than just understanding it. It requires action. Each day, we are faced with choices that either reflect God's glory or reflect the brokenness of sin. Whether it's showing kindness to a stranger, acting with integrity in our work, or choosing humility over pride, every moment is an opportunity to live according to God's purpose. This is not always easy, especially in a world filled with distractions and challenges. But it's in these daily choices that we fulfill the reason we were created. The Apostle Paul reminds us in 1 Corinthians 10 verse 31. So whether you eat or drink or whatever you do, do it all for the glory of God. This verse isn't just about grand acts of worship or service. It's about our everyday actions, showing God's love and goodness in the simplest of ways. Furthermore, living out our purpose means recognizing that we are not alone in this journey. God designed us to live in community, to support and encourage each other as we walk in His purpose. In the New Testament, we are reminded that we have been given gifts not just for ourselves, but for the benefit of others. In 1 Peter 4 verses 10 to 11, we read, "Each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others, as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms." Our relationships, whether in marriage, family, or friendship, are vital in reflecting God's image. It's through these connections that we experience His love and share it with the world. Together, we are called to bring light to the darkness, to reflect God's glory in every interaction, and to participate in His redemptive work on earth. As we reflect on our purpose and the journey we've taken together, we must recognize that living out our calling isn't just about understanding God's plan for us. It's about embracing it fully. We were created to glorify God, to reflect His image, and to participate in His work of redemption in the world. Each day provides new opportunities to live out this purpose, not just in the grand moments of life, but in the small, seemingly insignificant choices we make. Whether it's choosing to love those around us, caring for the environment, or being a light in someone's life, every act of kindness, integrity, and love reflects God's glory. It's in these actions that we find true fulfillment, living as we were created to live. But it all comes down to a decision. Are we living in a way that reflects our true purpose? Are we glorifying God in everything we do, from our work to our relationships, from the way we treat others to how we engage with the world around us? The choice is ours. God has given us the freedom to choose how we live, but He also calls us to live in a way that reflects His love and glory. So, as you continue on your journey, remember this: you are not here by accident. You were created with a divine purpose, and that purpose is to know God, reflect His image, and bring glory to Him in all that you do. Embrace that purpose and let it guide every step you take, for in doing so, you will fulfill the very reason you were made.